BrodytheCuber merch is now available for a limited time only, so get your own You're Lying to Yourself hoodie while you can. So you finally learned how to do beginner F2L. Congratulations! Now let's go over 3 really simple ways you can do F2L faster. The first thing you should do is learn how to solve F2L pairs into the back. In my F2L flowchart, I taught things in a way where you always put the stuff you were working on into the front, and that means you also solve every pair into the front. This is a great way to make things simple, but it's slower because it makes you cube rotate a lot. Solving pairs into the back works just the same as it does into the front. The 2 main inserts work into both the back left and back right slots with only slightly different versions of the algorithms. Not only do the inserts work, but so does everything that you do into the front. So if you can recognize an F2L pair from this position, you can connect and solve it exactly like you would into the front. The rules from the flowchart are the same, but they work in a slightly different way. Let me show you an example. So here is our F2L case here, and just to show you how we would do it into the front, we're going to put the slot in the front, and then we notice that the white sticker is on top. So what we do is we line up the edge color with its center, move the edge away from where it needs to go, move over the corner, and connect it. And the same concept applies here. We can do the exact same thing from this angle to solve it into the back. We line up the edge just like before, and the important thing to remember here is that we're moving the edge away from where it needs to go, not just away from us. So in this case, the edge belongs here. So moving it away from where it needs to go would be moving it like this. Then we move the corner over the edge, move it back up, and then we have our insert. The second thing is learning how to use empty slots to avoid cube rotating. When solving F2L pairs, you use empty slots both to separate pairs that are connected wrong and to connect pairs correctly. But it's super important that you only use empty F2L slots to do these things. If you use a slot with an F2L pair solved in it, then you will mess up that pair and have to solve it again. In my tutorial, I taught you how to do those things in a way that always uses the slot of the F2L pair you are solving. That's the only slot that you can always guarantee will be empty. But doing that means you have to do extra cube rotating. You can save those cube rotations by using other F2L slots to separate pairs. But when you do it, you have to be very careful about only using empty slots. This means you will need to be aware of which slots are full and which ones are empty, which sounds really hard, but over time it gets much easier. Here's an example for this kind of thing. In my F2L flowchart, when the edge is connected to the corner on the left, like it is here, you're supposed to separate them by cube rotating and doing these moves. Then you have to cube rotate back and solve the rest of the pair. But if the back right slot is empty, we can use that slot instead of cube rotating. To do that, we can separate the pair with R prime, U, R, and now we have a separated pair. To reiterate this point, even if the back right slot is full, but the front left slot is empty, we can still use this slot in a clever way to avoid cube rotating. To do that, you would do a U2 so that this layer kind of cuts these 2 pieces of the pair, and then we do L prime, U, L to use this slot to separate these 2. And now we have a separated pair, cube rotation free. If both of those slots were full, like in this case, we still would have to cube rotate to separate the pair, unfortunately. But once you get more advanced, you will learn some ways to solve pairs like this without cube rotating, no matter which slots are open. Let's go over one more example that combines this trick with the previous one. Let's say we have this pair that needs to go into the back left. The first thing we need to do is move the edge from here to here, so we'll have insert number 2 and it'll be set up to insert. And to do that, we need to use an empty slot. Because the front left slot is empty, we can use that. Doing an L prime here hides the corner, then we can move over the edge with U and bring the corner back with L. And now we can just insert the pair. Once again, this case has more advanced solutions that let you avoid cube rotating even when the front left slot is full, but for now, learning how to do this is the most important thing. And the final trick is to learn to recognize cases from start to finish so you don't have to do them step by step. I know that I used a flowchart to teach F2L in my tutorial, but that's just to teach you the steps in a way that's easier to remember. Once you can remember all the steps, you can think of each pair as one complete process instead of a bunch of smaller steps. Think about it this way. Which of these sounds faster? Okay, are the pieces connected incorrectly? No, they're not, so I can skip ahead. Is the white sticker on the corner facing up? No, it's not. So we need to move the U layer so we can still see the white sticker on the corner. Not this way. This way we can see it. Are the top colors on the corner of the edge the same or different? They are the same. So we turn the layer where the white sticker is to move it into the bottom layer. Move the edge over next to where it was, and then bring the corner back. And now we have our insert. Or, I know what this case looks like. I know we need to connect this pair, and I know we can do it by doing that. And then we insert the pair. Obviously, the second one is a lot faster. Basically, you start thinking, I know what this case looks like, and I know that I need to do these moves to solve it. It's like you're using an algorithm, but instead of just memorizing moves, you actually understand what the moves are doing. Your goal should be to associate what each case looks like with the moves you need to do to solve it. When you do that, it can also make your solves more efficient. Here's an example. For this red and green pair, the F2L flowchart would tell you to separate the pieces by cube rotating and doing U, L prime, U, L. Then you would cube rotate back and move the corner back to the front right. Then you would have to move over the corner so we can see the white sticker like that. Cube rotate again, hide the corner to move over the edge, and then cube rotate back and insert the pair. Do you see how redundant that is? There was so much cube rotating back and forth and doing the same U moves back and forth. And by just recognizing the case as a whole instead of following a bunch of small steps, we can avoid all of that. Let's look at this pair for a moment. You see how the pair is connected, except the top colors on the corner and the edge are different? We can already tell from this that the edge belongs over here, so we can do the insert number 2 to insert the pair. So when we cube rotate to separate the pair, why don't we just do a U2 here so that it ends up being where it needs to be right away? That's much more efficient. And if you're really clever, you can use the second trick at the same time. The back right slot here is open, so we can use that slot to separate them like this, and we don't need to cube rotate at all. Doing R prime U to R sets up that pair, and then doing R U R prime inserts it. Let's go over that same pair in a way that uses all 3 tricks at once. So we have the same pair, except it belongs in the back right slot instead. We're going to solve it in pretty much the same way. We just need to hide the corner, do U2 to put the edge where it needs to go, and then insert the pair. And because the front right slot was open, we can do all of that without cube rotating. All we had to do was R U to R prime and go straight into R prime U prime R. I have another video that goes over all of the F2L cases that you should be able to recognize just by how they look at this point. As you get more advanced, you'll be able to do this with more and more cases. But for now, these are all of the cases you can solve in the most efficient way using what you know so far. This video will be linked in the card in the upper right and in the description. So if you can do those 3 tricks in your solves, then you will definitely be able to solve F2L a lot faster than you would before. If this video helped you out, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Right now we're at just over 60,000 subscribers, and if you want to help me get to 100K, you need to click that subscribe button right now. I'll see you guys later, and I hope you have a great day. This is Brody, signing out.